Hi, I'm Becca from Annabear Babyware, and I'm going to go over our pouch basics right now. We'll start with sizing, figuring out what size you should get, and I'll do some troubleshooting, so if you have a carrier and aren't sure if it's quite the right size for you or not, kind of help maybe narrow that down for you a little bit. Now sizing, you want to take a soft measuring tape, a piece of yarn, and a yardstick, something along those lines. You can even use just the edge of a sheet or a blanket, but you want to go from the ball of your shoulder across the front to where the hand sits on your hip. When you've got your hand on your hip, when you're putting baby into a hip carry, that's where baby's bed is going to be sitting anyway, so I find that that's a pretty accurate representation of what size your carrier should be. So across the front, just like this, not too loose, not too tight. And I'm right around 22 inches. I can fit a 21 or a 22, just depends on what I'm trying to do. The 21 is certainly a little bit more on the snug side. Someone who wants a little bit looser would want to lean one size, or want to kind of round up towards the next number up. In any case, if you can try some on before you purchase, that's certainly going to be easier for you. Sizing is the hardest part as far as pouch style slings go. Learning or figuring out what your size is the hard part. Once you've got that down, completely easy, super simple. But basically your anatomy of your pouch sling is just this big tube. It's this big long piece of fabric. One edge will have no padding at all. The other side will have some light padding on the edge of the curve. And you'll also have this curved edge here. This curved seam is where you want to put baby. You want to make sure that that's wherever the bulk of baby is. Not up on your shoulder or anything like that. When you're first starting, if you get it out of the washer and it's not folded up for you and you're looking at it going, this isn't what it looked like, just take your edges of your curve, line them up with each other, and fix the curve so that it's all flat together. That curve should kind of fit inside itself. And then just line up your inner rail and your outer rail. Hold this together and just give it a little shake, and that should fold it out to what it should look like. This is how it should look when it arrives anyway. Now to get it on, you can use one shoulder or the other. I know that I find, since I hold baby with the head on this side, this is the most natural position for me. I put the shoulder over here because that holds baby in exactly the same way, just using the carrier to do the work instead of my arms. Now this is a carrier that can switch from one shoulder to the other, so you don't have to choose right away. If one feels a little bit odd to you, you can try the other. But you want to just open up that hole, slide it over one arm onto the opposite shoulder. I know that I find I use one shoulder for certain carrying positions and the other shoulder for others, so really just use whatever you're most comfortable with. Now, when you put it on, you want to make sure that that seam, like I said, is where the bulk of baby is for it. So for any time that baby is going to be in a front carry of any kind, a cradle carry, tummy to tummy, kangaroo sitting up and looking to the side, anything like that, the carrier should start off with your seam in the front. You want to get your top of your curve right out in the middle of you. It leans off to the side, but you want to have this top part here centered in the middle of you. Now, your inner rail here, I like to, especially when you're first learning, get that up nice and high. That way you're sure to put baby inside the pocket and not just through the bottom of the carrier. Let's see here. Now, this carrier fits me properly. You can tell, like, when it's on, the bottom of the carrier should be somewhere around your navel level. If it's really, really low when you're first putting it on, it's going to be very uncomfortable. Baby won't sit in there quite right like you're supposed to have it in there. This carrier right here is 2 sizes too big. I'll show how that looks. It's much larger on me, even just being 2 sizes different. And if I were to put baby in there, baby would be falling way down in there, and it's already sliding off my shoulder here. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to stay up properly. So you know, every little size change does make a difference. As it adds, each size up will add 1 inch to this upper rail here, and that's actually 2 inches around because it is folded in half. So every size up changes with about 2 inches and how it fits around you. So if it's just a little bit snug, try one size up, but generally speaking, and that's why sizing is so hard, is because sometimes one size up simply won't work, and one size down simply won't work. And with this one, I can make this one work really well, and it works okay if baby's up front. It is a little bit on the big side for me though. When I'm holding it, it has a little bit more room here than I want, and the bottom of the carrier comes lower than what I really want baby to be in. And that's where the bottom of baby is going to go when baby goes in the carrier. Show real quick here. When baby goes in there, baby's way down in there. The other thing too is that when you've got the wrong size carrier, baby falls a lot further down in here and goes down, so baby's head is way down here. Whereas if the carrier fits properly, baby's face should be up here towards the opening. This padding does help hold it open, but you can see baby's nowhere near the top of the carrier, and it's a lot harder to keep baby positioned properly if the carrier is too big. He's already sliding back down in there a little bit. Not nearly as comfortable, and it's also kind of pulling on my shoulder, and that hurts my shoulder and it hurts my neck. I'm already starting to get some neck pain over here because it's pulling on me in a funny way. So sizing really does matter a lot. If you've got the wrong size for your carrier, it's not going to be nearly as comfortable as it could be if you had the right size. So that's the basic idea with sizing there. If the carrier is too small for you, you're going to have a very, very difficult time getting baby in and out. Baby should feel like a firm hug. It shouldn't be so tight that you feel like you have trouble breathing, or that baby is so tight that they can't move. You want baby to be hugged but not restricted, if that makes sense. Your carrier, if you get it fitted properly from postpartum, when you do your measuring, if it's fitted properly at the beginning, as baby grows, you'll be dropping baby weight. You'll be going from looking about 5 months pregnant again to closer to what you were before. And baby will fill the carrier out as you drop that weight. So the transition there, baby's just taking up the same space that you were taking up before. And as baby gets even bigger than that, less of baby's in the carrier. Baby's arms and head are out. Then as they get even bigger and they're getting to be more toddler stage, you can have their legs coming through the bottom and their head and arms out. So if you get it fitted properly, it should fit okay from birth all the way through to the end. When I was postpartum, I was wearing a size 24, and if I was trying to carry my 3-year-old son right now, that's the same size that I would need for him to be able to fit him in there because he's so big, even though I've dropped quite a bit of the baby weight. So depending on, just be careful with your sizing at the beginning. Make sure that it's very comfortable for you, and it should work for you all the way through until they're done being carried and don't want to be up anymore. No more slings, Mommy. So, okay, so that's the basics with that. When you first get the carrier on, you want to make sure that you have not just your curve out front. It'll often be bunched up like this when you first get it on. If you can spread that out before you ever get baby in, then it'll be a lot more comfortable for you. And check and make sure that the center of this bit of the fabric up on your shoulder is actually in the ball of your shoulder. If it's hiked up on your neck, it's going to put all of that pressure up on your neck, and it's not going to feel right. And if it's down on your shoulder here, it can slide off, and well, that wouldn't be comfortable either. So we're aiming for comfort and for safety.